Alright guys, I'm back with another video. I'm diving with some new dive buddies. Yes, Chris and Jericho.
Big action today.
Let's go.
We're going for some big fish today, and we'll see you guys in the water. Alright guys, I get down to the bottom here. It's around 75 feet, which is on the deeper side for me. I'm down here on the bottom waiting for the fish to come in, and off to my right I see some nice ta'apes swimming over to me. There's a couple other fish too, but I want to take these invasives off the reef. So I line up on these fish and line up and take a nice shot right here. Boom, hit him right in the upper body, and yeah, land a sick fish. It's good to get these invasives off the reefs, and later on we're going to use this as chum. Alright guys, this is another deeper drop around that 75 mark again, and I land down here in the sandy pits. I'm trying to see if there's going to be any fish off into the distance, and when I get down here to the bottom, I'm looking around, moving my head back and forth, trying to spot some fish. I don't really have too long of a breath hold down here, so I don't spot any fish and I head up to the surface. Alright guys, this is another drop a lot shallower. This is around 50 feet, so I get on here to the bottom and you can see these huge bouldery rock structures. And I'm trying to go down here and tuck up underneath this big rock structure, but I don't really see any fish, so I decided not to do that, and I swim across the bottom, trying to look at the end of this rock structure's point, trying to see if there's any fish. And I'm looking around and I'm not noticing a whole lot of fish, so I decide to head up to the surface right here. Alright guys, so right here is extremely shallow. It's around 15 feet and I'm heading down to the bottom. I don't really like diving shallow. I feel like my fins will start floating up and it makes it a lot harder to dive. But you can see there's some papillos and some moana collies. I haven't shot anything to eat today, so I'm trying to catch one of these papillos. It's like a 1.5 pound papillo, and I'm lining up. I'm waiting for him to give me a nice shot. You can see right here, I take the shot. He starts spinning like crazy, but I land a nice papillo. Alright, you guys can see this is a pretty cool dive. I'm doing my standard mood technique, tucking up under these rocks and putting my head down. So you can see off into the distance, these ananuis come straight over to check me out. They're curious because I tucked up under the rocks instead of being out in the open. So right here I spotted the moo, and I decided to put my head down and wait to see if he's going to come over. You can see off into the distance, you can see the moo. It's like I would say around a 3-pound moo. I definitely would shoot it, but I'm just tucking my head waiting under, and then you can see he starts swimming over to the right. So I decide to outplay this moo, and I try to swim over this rock. So I'm hoping that when I swim to the other side, he'll be close and I can take a nice shot. And when I'm swimming over this rock, you can see I'm nice and relaxed. And then you can see off into the moos, off into the distance. I probably should have loaded up my band, the full thing, but right here I just end up missing it low. Alright guys, so after that dive, I decided to call it a day, unload my bands, and head in. Boom, guys, we're diving in a new spot. It's day 2 of diving, trying to get some more fish. But we didn't really have any success the last day, but today we're going for a big fish. So you can see I'm down here on the bottom, looking off into the distance. It's pretty murky, but off into the distance you can spot a huge ava, around a 20-pounder. There's around 4 of them in the school, but only the one is really sticking around waiting for me. So you can see I'm lunging over to this lava. You can see that big fork tail off into the distance. He's swimming like a majestical fish, and you see I line up the shot right here. I aim just a little bit low, hit him in the tail, and he starts going like crazy, and he's wrapping himself all up in these rocks. It's pretty crazy. And then I'm trying to swim up to the surface. I probably should have swam over to him right there, but I decided to swim up to the surface. You can see my friend Corey, he's loading his gun right now. And you can see this is his backup shot right here, and he just whiffs the backup shot, and then he just swims up to the surface. You can see while he's doing that, I'm trying to untangle the coral, and then you can see he goes in for another backup shot. The fish swims away and rips off, which was heartbreaking for me. That would have been my biggest fish. Guys, our first dive did not go as we planned, but now we're doing a second dive. Me and Kalai's back at it, and we're going for big fish, and we're blasting a lot of fish because he needs some fish for his party. Alright guys, you can see right away this spot looks a lot more promising. I head down to the bottom in super shallow water, and you can see I'm lining up on this ponanu, deciding if I want to shoot or not. And then right here my friend just snipes that ponanu. Right here I'm in a bit deeper water and heading down to the bottom, and I'm just looking around trying to see if there's going to be any fish coming in. It's a pretty cool, lively structure. Even though the reef is pretty dead, there's still a lot of fish around, which is pretty sick to see. And the water visibility is a lot clearer than my last couple dives, which I'm pretty stoked about. Alright guys, I head down to the bottom right here. It's around 30 feet and I'm getting down to the bottom, and you can see there's a nice roy tucked up in this hole. It's good to always get these invasives off the reef, so I'm looking in this hole trying to spot this roy, trying to take a shot. He's not really presenting me a shot, and I also don't want to blast my gun fully into the rocks if I know I'm not going to hit him. So right here he swims away and I blast him, and yeah. But I swim up to the surface because he was tucked in. You can see this is my friend's Moana collie. I head back down to the bottom to retrieve this roy. You can see he's tucked up in between these rocks right here. And I follow the shaft line down to the bottom. And you can see I'm trying to rip him out of the hole right here. And I end up pulling him out right here. And you can see I get a nice stone shot, which I'm always pretty stoked to do. I don't get too much stone shots. My aim isn't the best yet. Alright, you guys can see I'm heading down to the bottom right here. It's around that same 30-foot mark. And you can see there's a ton of life, but it's not really the type of fish I want to see. There is a Moana collie coming in, but he's on the smaller side, so I do not decide to shoot him just yet. And I'm waiting down here. You can see tons of polanis, nine-eyes, all those types of fish. And you can see they start swimming a bit to the right, but they're swimming back and forth, and I'm trying to line up, trying to see if there's anything I want. I'm just enjoying my time down to the bottom. And then you can see they get a little bit spooked right here and swim the other way, and I'm like wondering, what is that? And then my friend's warning me, and then bam, nice Galapagos swims right by me. Probably smelt my roy on my belt and was deciding to take a chunk out of me, but luckily he didn't. Alright, you guys can see I head down to the bottom here. Just again, I get down to the bottom. It's that same type of fish. Those nine-eyes, those polanis, those maninis. Nothing really that I'm looking for. But I'm just trying to sit down here on the bottom, trying to scan, see if anything better is going to come in that I would want to shoot. But it doesn't really seem like too much is coming in, so I just keep turning my head back and forth. And I'm lining up off into the distance, and there's not really anything, so I head up. Alright guys, I spot a pile of some more fish, and then when I see them from the surface, I can spot a couple nice sized Moana collies. So I'm heading down here to the bottom, trying to find the right spot for me to drop. In hindsight, I probably should have tucked up in between that sand right here, but instead I'm on the high side of the reef, and I can spot this school of Moana collies, and I know they're going to swim back and forth in the same area right here. So what I'm trying to do is not rush the shot, take my time, and pick out the fish that I want to shoot. So I'm looking off these Moana collies and deciding which one I want to shoot. I can spot the bigger one right there, so I'm deciding to line up on him, waiting for him to present me a good shot. But there is a lot of fish in the way, so I'm taking my time, not rushing the shot. And then you can see he swims back over here, presents me a shot, but I don't want to nail the rocks. And then right here, I blast him right into the sand and get a nice shot on this Moana collie. Alright guys, you can see I take another drop in that same 30-foot, 25-foot range, and I get down here to the bottom. There is a choke amount of life down here. There's a polanis, nine-eyes, all that stuff, but it's not really the type of fish I want. I usually prefer the ukus, the moos, and that type of stuff, but I'm down here on the bottom waiting to see maybe something will come in. You never know. I'm lining up on these polanis and stuff, but I decide I don't really want any of these guys and swim up. Alright guys, you can see right here I get down to the bottom. I'm in that lot shallower range, that 15 to 20 foot, and you can see off into the distance there's some nice sized collas which I wouldn't mind picking up for my friend's party. So I'm trying to wait for them to present me a good shot. I line up right here waiting for him to turn. I start lining up the shot and I shoot right here, and of course my gun muzzle wraps, the line gets all tangled, and I don't end up lining this fish. Alright guys, this is actually my last drop of the day. I'm in that same 15 to 20 foot range and off into the distance. I'm looking around, I'm not seeing too much, but I do spot some collas off into the distance which I wouldn't mind getting. So I line up the shot, take the shot right here. I don't even know what happened. I probably should have had my gun fully loaded.